both love our country, and we both love God, and I think the main thing is we appreciate what God has given us, and I think it always comes down to gratitude towards our parents, towards our God, and when we lose that sight, things go downhill from there.
I think we always have to keep in mind that we have to give thanks for all things and try to learn something from everything that's negative and see where we're supposed to go from there.
Yeah.
After all, there's a plan, and for our lives long before we were born, I believe. And to me, it's carrying on a legacy of our family and of our country and our nation. This is very important.
Yeah, and I have a lot of respect for you, and you took what was passed down from your generation, from your family, and you have tried to carry that mantle. And it seems like nowadays people don't do that, or sometimes they do. Sometimes what's passed down to them isn't any good, and then they people go along with that too. So.
Well, we can talk about that a little bit, where our nation's going, if you like.
Yeah.
What I see, I've been blessed to have met many of the presidential candidates. You get to meet great men, and you hear and listen to them speak, and some of the words and things that they observe, as well as pretty soon you think you're going crazy. Am I really getting this right, or am I seeing this the way the nation is moving? And so often I have people coming up, what's going on? Where are we going? What can I do? And we've had Gathering of Eagles, having seen that 8 years ago, we had Gathering of Eagles. And pulling together the factions. We're separated. We're all kind of scattered about, going all different directions.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Gathering of the Eagles a little bit, but you brought it up, but it didn't sound before that you were exactly sure where you're going with that this year. Do you have more of a plan now?
Yeah, we'll get to that. But that's why we brought all these different factions. Like I said in the past, we have seen Democrats leaving the Democrat Party, and Democrats going into the Republican Party, and the Republicans leaving the Republican Party and becoming Tea Party. And so what do you got all these factions in Tea Party out there, don't know quite what to do, and they're not extremely powerful, but together they are powerful. And we've always said, together we are powerful. And so we invited them out for kind of a picnic to begin with. And it was so successful, and we always start our picnics with ministers and asking for blessings, like we do. We ask for blessings the way we did this morning today.
Yeah.
And so that's that they all. Then you begin to see that they all have different pictures, perspectives, but basically you finally get a course where the road is happening. So
what are the different perspectives that you? What are the different perspectives that you've seen?
I see the nation is under attack. And I know good men like General Jerry Boykin and Peter Schumacher, who was chief of staff, and excellent. Jerry's now a friend after we've met several times. Became more. Last time I was with him was Jerry Boykin, General Jerry Boykin. It's a 3-star Black Hawk Down. Some people would recognize it that. But we have a nation under attack. And we have a tremendous voter fraud issue in the state of Oregon and California and Washington. And the symptom is, you can see the marijuana passing, so it gives you an idea who's behind it. And the unions are involved, and we have no ID for our vote. So it's easy to get somebody you shouldn't be elected using voter fraud techniques.
So are you saying that the marijuana thing wouldn't have passed?
The marijuana thing wouldn't have passed if we had voter ID.
Okay. Okay,
that's one of the things. I think a lot of the Democrats wouldn't have been elected if we had voter ID. I had sat in my living room one day with John Fund, who's Fox News. We had him at the Eagles, and he spoke at our group. We had Tom DeLay in the living room, and I bet John Fund $500 that we would lose the election. And John said, "Oh no, Romney's got it. We're going to win." The numbers were down. I mean, everybody was doing it. And there's a really lovely fellow on Fox News that comes on all the time with this board on the wall, and writing his numbers on there. We're going to do this and that. And everyone was wrong. And I would run it, and I won the $500. And so,
When did you know that Romney was going to lose?
well, I knew right off the bat, pretty much, with the voter fraud issues going down. So it's been happening for a long time, and Oregon's been a Democrat state for some time, but because of the voter fraud issues, because we don't show ID. And so when we got away from the going to the polls where the people actually ID people in the different districts and check to be sure there was no, then the people are keeping an eye on a thing. That's one thing. But you know, at schools and churches and wherever they're voting, or polling. But when we don't, when we let the state do it, and where government can manipulate things, and when people can manipulate things in the government, then we have a serious problem. So that we have to deal with. We have to deal with the voter fraud. People, first of all, no, I'm going to have to tell you a little story. I was over the state fairground one day, and there was the Secretary of State's office was there, and I think, excuse me, it was the Attorney General's office was there, and representing the Attorney General. I said, I have to ask you a question, sir. And he was one of the officers of the Attorney General. And I said, what do you do for voter fraud? Well, we investigate it. I said, okay, well, how many people do you have investigating it? And he says, including myself. And I says, yes. And he said, one. So, you know, no one is investigating voter fraud.
Just himself.
It's sad. It's sad. There really is no investigative body for voter fraud. And so the first thing that comes up with the Secretary of State, if you ask her, or you know, who past Secretary of State, obviously, you know, we have any voter fraud in the state? No, absolutely not. No voter fraud. And if there is somebody, it's a Republican. You know, and we had one where, you know, we had something going down in Portland, Oregon, and I blamed it on the Republican in the office. You know, that it was a Republican that did it supposedly, and you know that's baloney. So, and it's on a national level. So every state there is ID, you'll find it being pretty Republican. Every state there's no ID, you'll find it pretty much to be Democrat.
Wow.
And it shows that if there's a pattern forming here, that's something we need to pay attention to, and there is a pattern forming there. It's been here for a while. I do not believe Obama would have been elected as President of the United States if we had, and that's my viewpoint, if we had voter ID.
Right, yeah, well, I knew from the get-go that, I hate to say, I'll put it this way, it really looked like he was cheating, that there was a problem
Sure does.
when he was supposed to show up to debates and he was completely unprepared, like he didn't care. And, you know, I was really suspicious then. And then when he, in some counties, got over 100% of the vote,
Yeah,
you know, there
exactly.
you go.
I mean, it's just
There's a problem right there.
mind-boggling and ridiculous. And so
Yeah.
people, you know, the question might arise, from what do I know, from all the people I've met, and Tony Perkins is a friend, and, you know, people I've met, Tom DeLay, and I mean, these are friends. Tony is a great guy, and General Boykin is a great man. And, you know, you get to talk to these people, and who is Obama? And my feeling at this point, so we go right to the bottom line and work up, I guess. The bottom line, Obama, you know, is a socialist. And he was also raised in Jakarta and went to a Muslim school.
Yeah.
Okay, we know that for a fact, roughly around the age of 10. And his mom had married Sitaro in Indonesia and lived there for a while, and the marriage broke up. And she sent him back to Hawaii to live with grandma and grandpa, which were American-born people. You know, people say that doesn't matter. It does matter that basically that we don't call anyone on a birth certificate African in 1962. Don't call anyone African in 1962. I was alive and in the military in 1962. We call the person Negro on a birth certificate.
Right.
But there's a no issue today to talk about a phonied up a birth certificate or document the White House produced. So who is Obama? He is
because it doesn't say on the birth certificate.
Yeah,
You showed me.
A birth certificate in 1962 was never typed with a Royal and Underwood typewriter. Excuse me, it was typed with a Royal and Underwood typewriter. It was not typed with an IBM Selectric.
And it doesn't use the word Negro.
And it doesn't use the word Negro.
Which is what they used back then.
There's a whole bunch more stuff on that document.
And then the woman who put that together was mysteriously killed.
There was,
Is that
well,
correct? Is there-
there's a couple of people that's claimed that they had put that together and that Obama, when Jerome Corsi wrote Abomination and Where's the Birth Certificate, Obama had to pop out with one really fast, and so there, someone had put one together as a joke, and then they photoshopped it, and they put this up really fast. And you know, the bottom line is what I've seen to be pretty well documented. He was born in Kenya. When he followed his father, his mom followed his father over to Kenya, and then he went back to after she couldn't leave because she was pregnant, and 5 days later, after she broke water on the Kenyan beach, and they have a certificate of birth registration, which matched one another. With that was British territory at that time, and then she went back to Hawaii and went back to school, and that's where she met her second husband, Sataro.
There aren't too many outlets where you can hear in-depth spiritual issues alongside conservative politics, where we can make a difference to those around us and our country. It's brought to you at a cost that's worthwhile, yet I'd like to do more. On 11thhourpolitics.com, you can buy books and videos that will advance this cause. There's delicious chanterelle tea containing vitamin D, proven to dispel depression. We have an art gallery and options to produce your own commercial or have us do it for you, along with other projects. It's only through a co-op that things get accomplished. I hope you will join me in this mission.